Welcome to the Balance Code Podcast, a place where you have permission to step outside the hamster wheel of day-to-day life and learn tools to create more balance. My name is Katie Ressler. I'm a licensed therapist and burnout and hidden grief specialist. I support ambitious, goal-driven people who are ready to get off the one-way train to burnout and start to enjoy life again to the fullest. Oh, and by the way, I'm a mom of 3, an expat living in Germany who is still learning the language, and an entrepreneur. Living my balance code is what keeps me able to work in incredible ways without burning out. So let's find your balance code. Are you a celebrator? Do you love celebrating the beginning of something new happening in your life? Or do you enjoy celebrating the ending, the completion? Maybe you enjoy celebrating the progress throughout the process. Well, today we're going to be talking about celebration and the importance of learning how to celebrate the beginning, the middle, and the end, especially for those of us who struggle and move on to the next thing very quickly after we come to the ending of something else, and then later find ourselves maybe in a process of grief or realizing we didn't really learn fully from things that happened to us before because we didn't take the time to stop, pause, process, and celebrate. So why should we celebrate? Why does that matter, Katie? Okay. First of all, celebrating is one of my favorite things to do. That's why you should. No, truly, there are reasons why you need to celebrate. Number one, the start of a new project, a new chapter of your life, a new place you're living, whatever that new thing is, the new year in school. All of this is a start, right? It is a first day, first week, first month, first year. It needs to be recognized as such. Our brains need to be able to say, whew, there's some big and new things coming up for me, and I might be a little apprehensive. I might have some grief about the old things that I had to let go of to create this new thing or to step into this new chapter of my life. And then be able to go, okay, I'm going to really celebrate it and see it for what it is. We often think celebration is a birthday cake and candles, but sometimes celebration is just honoring something that has happened to us, honoring the life of someone, honoring the work and progress that we've made. And sure, it can involve cake and candles, but it also might be going for a walk, coming to a certain place on that walk, and just taking a deep breath and going, wow, look at what I've accomplished in my life. Man, I've been through a lot. And I just want to take a moment to celebrate myself and what I've been able to go through. It can also involve cheersing with champagne or beer for those of you here in Germany. It can involve having sweets or going out for a special meal or buying yourself something special. But I find most of the time, celebration isn't about necessarily these external things, though they do associate in our brains as celebration, but really the mental note within ourselves to stop and say, I did this, or something new is coming, or whew, let's see what this chapter brings. We rush from thing to thing on a regular basis, and we rarely stop to really acknowledge the start of something. The flip side of that is celebrating the ending of something, the end of a chapter, the transition to a new job, the end of that school year. Here in my daughter's kindergarten, and for those of you who don't know, here in Germany, you go to kindergarten from 3 years to 6 years old. I bring ice cream to the last day of kindergarten. No, kindergarten here is not a place where you get grades or there's this progress of you're in a new class. The 3 to 6 year olds are all in the same group. And I promise it works very well most of the time. But I still want my daughter to see you did it one more year in kindergarten. One more year closer to first grade, one more year past, and so much growth has happened. So I bring ice cream. The parents know, they all get excited. It is just something that I find to be important to help the children to celebrate the closure of a year and the growth that they have experienced, though they're too young to acknowledge that. I think as parents, sometimes we need to remember that too. So the parents love it. I love it. And I have had several friends that I've developed through the kindergarten times of my older 2 that have said to me, I didn't used to celebrate things as much as I do now because of our friendship. I realized there's value in celebration, celebrating the endings of things, even if it seems silly, celebrating birthdays, celebrating life in general, celebrating the beginning of something. And they find more enjoyment now in different chapters in their lives because they celebrate. That means so much to me because celebration truly is, if we had to have a pillar of value that I have, it's to celebrate in life. There's a lot of negativity going on, and it is not toxic positivity or trying to positively reframe something. It is honoring the fact that there is celebration still in life. So when there is a closure, when there is an ending to something, stopping, reflecting, wow, look at that time that I've spent on this project or on this goal or in this chapter of my life, in this relationship. And even though it's ending, even though it's time for it to be done, I can see the growth I've made. I can see the progress I desire for my future. And I can honor the fact that the past was there and it's helped me to be who I am now. Sometimes celebration is writing a gratitude letter to yourself, to someone else in your life. Sometimes it's really having a moment to go out with friends and go out to dinner, cheers together and say, we did it, or I did it. But we need to have that closure. I think it's so important because often I find when I work with people who have hidden grief, they were not celebrating along the way. They were not taking time to reflect on personal growth, even the positives and the negatives. They weren't doing the reflection. And because they weren't, they were repeating old habits and patterns that were keeping them stuck. And so now they've learned it's important for me to celebrate. And part of celebration, I always think of like people who are having like their big round birthday, like their 60th or their 70th birthday. Usually people come up and talk and speak at those birthday parties. Or you have the presentation with all the photos and everybody's watching the photos throughout their life. And it's a celebration of their life. I think of it the same way. A small project, a relationship, a habit or goal, whatever it is that has come to completion, it's a reflection over the journey to see, wow, these were the highs, these were the lows, the ups and the downs, and here I am now. So often we jump from thing to thing. Like I said, we don't stop and really focus. And by doing so, what we constantly see is negativity. More things to do, more stuff that needs to get done, more stress, more feelings of overwhelm. We're always on to the next thing. And when we don't stop and celebrate and to honor and recognize progress and growth, we will consistently see what's lacking. We will consistently see the scarcity. We will not see the blossoming garden that's in front of us. Our brains are wired to see negative. It's to protect us. It is fight or flight. It is the caveman brain of, I need to stay alive and keep my genes going through this family line. But that doesn't mean it has to rule how we live our lives. We can also teach ourselves to celebrate throughout our lives for a variety of reasons in order that our brains see the good and the positive in our lives too. I've worked with many clients who felt like they weren't really living a life of purpose. And when we sat down and looked at what are their daily activities, what are the things they do throughout their week, what are their values, what are the things that they've accomplished in their life, who have they been able to impact in the way they wanted to? It's like we're having a mini celebration of their life in that moment. And then they see the progress they have made. They're able to celebrate the life they've lived so far. But when we don't do that, all we see is the life we haven't lived yet. If you're looking to stop feeling like it's never enough, then start celebrating. Find the things to celebrate today. It can be a small thing. Hey, I sent that email. Let me do a little happy dance. Oh, I finally got those doctor's appointments off my list of to-dos. Whoa, let me stand up and stretch and kind of like, yeah, you did that. Awesome. That's amazing. Or big things. My marriage is coming to an end. Or maybe it's that your job has come to an end. Or a relationship has come to an end. And you're realizing, man, I don't necessarily want to repeat some of the things that happened in that time. So let me stop and look at the progress I've made and really celebrate this ending, even though it can bring grief. We are complex human beings. We can feel multiple emotions. You can be angry and in love. You can be happy and sad. You can laugh and then cry the next moment, okay? So you can grieve the ending of something while also honoring, respecting, and celebrating it. What are you going to be celebrating today? Tag me on social media and let me know so I can celebrate with you. Here's to taking steps to finding our balance code. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you have a moment, please leave a rating or a review so that others can find this podcast who are looking for support just like you. Let's connect on Instagram at katie.russler or at Balance Code Podcast, or check down in the show notes to find ways that we can work together and see other offerings that I have for you at this time. And as always, here's to finding our balance code.